Okay, MJ, I'm going to start by doing the energy pulls, and I'm going to lift up your head. Real soft light. And then I'm going to put my fingers here. This part, we're just pulling up the energy from your feet. So it's going to be up through your feet, up all the way through your body, and out your head, and out my arms and my head. So it's just to get your, I know you've had energy work done before, but it's just to get your energy running smoothly so that we can release as much as possible. Because with access bars, it's more about releasing stuff that's maybe in your physical brain, or your mental, like your mental brain or your subconscious. And so it can be anything like stress, limiting beliefs, basically anything that's holding you back in life. And I know you had some issues with your ankle, so we'll look into that too. Was it the right or the left?
The right.
Okay. All right. And you're sensitive to energy, right? So do you feel things sometimes when people are doing work on you?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. Then you might feel anything like tingling, hot and cold, any kind of physical sensation, even pain. But that's all good because that means the energy's moving. So whatever you feel is good, but you can just check in with me. You also might hear things, see things. Everybody's different. So you might experience really anything. And people get real relaxed usually because it's proven that your brain waves slow down. So it's really good for that. And usually you sleep better afterwards too. And then we're going to do a little bit more on this section, and then we're going to go to your feet. Just one spot on your feet, and then we'll do one spot on your hands, and then we'll be back up on your head for the other points. Do you have any questions?
So far, so good.
Okay. Right near the ball of your foot. Okay, now we're going to reverse it. We're going to take it down, the energy down, flowing from your head to your feet. It's kind of like priming the pump. So we're just going to be pulling it down so that you can get everything ready to release. How has your ankle been feeling today?
So
About the same?
It's been about the same.
Okay.
I have been trying not to be on it too much.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah, currently it feels heavy. Not like hot or cold, but just like a little heavier.
A little heavier? Okay. Do you feel the energy running down your body or anything?
Yeah, but it's almost like it's like at that ankle, like it's like heavier.
Oh, okay, the ankle. Okay. Yeah. Now, as you know, I kind of use the Louise Hay book to look up ailments. So because sometimes it reveals things that we might need to clear. So we're going to look up ankle. There it is. Okay, ankle, she says, represents inflexibility and guilt. And ankles represent the ability to receive pleasure. So, and then you said it was on your right side?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, the right side. Let me look here. I believe that's the masculine side. Yeah. Okay, anything on the right side of the body is giving out, letting go, masculine energy, men, and the father. So, so relating to the ankle, you do your hands. Okay, you're going to put your middle finger in the middle of my palm and mine in the middle of your palm. Okay, and then we're going to bring it up again. We're going to reverse it, bring the energy up and through your arms and out my arms, through your head. So does any of that make sense with the inflexibility and guilt and things like that?
I'm trying to think. So I think the inflexibility maybe.
Mm-hmm. Well, you know, the other thing to mention here is the pain. I know the pain is like not severe with the ankle, but
but at first it was.
Yeah, whenever you have pain, it usually represents guilt over something, because guilt always seeks punishment. And so if you
falling down the stairs was a pretty big punishment.
Right. If you feel like you need to be punished something, you'll unconsciously hurt yourself so that you are in pain. You see what I mean? It's like a weird thing. So is there anything you feel guilty about maybe that's happened recently or anything?
Trying to think.
Maybe you can't think of it. That's okay. It might come up. A lot of times things come up that you haven't thought of. And it could be something so simple like you cut somebody off in traffic or something. I mean, it probably wouldn't be that simple, but you know.
Well, I do know sometimes like at work, sometimes like over the phone, things can get pretty like uncomfortable, but I still do my best to help out the client, so I don't really think that work is, you know, part of the reason. I'm trying to think.
Well, I know you're going through a move, and I know that's always stressful.
Oh yeah.
So anything with that maybe?
That could be it, because I like stability, and I haven't really had like, it's been stable but also unstable, because it's like some of my stuff is here, some of my stuff is there. Sometimes I need something that's in the other house, and I thought it would be done differently, or like, you know, some like it's had its little hiccups, and then after the injury it kind of slowed things down even more, because now I have to like ask for help when I need to like move something. So I think in that aspect there is like some stability, but it's something that I know it's going to come to an end once I'm fully settled.
Right. Now this first point is the implant band, and so that's basically anything that you've been implanted with. So that could be you know, from childhood, you know, different teachers telling you things or anything like that. You know, because when you're a kid, an adult tells you something, you pretty much buy it as truth, you know. So, so anything that comes up while we're in this session, it might be an old memory of something, and when you were little or in school or something, anything like that, just bring it up, because it's probably coming up for a reason. There might be some emotion stuck around that, you know. And it definitely, as it relates to inflexibility, guilt, or able to receive pleasure, you know. Now, I know we talked about you wanting to compete in the dance thing. But you didn't feel, you know, like maybe you didn't feel like you were qualified. But I wonder if that's also like not receiving pleasure, because
it could be, but because it was very weird. Oh yeah,
compete, you know, if you compete and then you do really well, that would be like, you know, pleasurable, obviously, right? So, so anything coming up around that as far as?
So with that, I feel that when I first found out that we were gonna have performance, I was really nervous about it,
Right.
but also really excited, and it wasn't anything that we would be judged on in any way. It was just like a for fun type of situation.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like if I got injured every time I got nervous, I'd be dead.
Right.
But
Right.
but I do feel like there was a point where I did doubt myself. I'm like, am I good enough to, or not good enough to do it, but am I gonna be ready in this time frame?
Right.
And shortly after those thoughts, I fell down the stairs due to being on my phone, which was definitely preventable.
Right.
And I would have had plenty of time to get ready for the performance. I had bought the costume. I got like new little like knee pad things and shoes, and I was all ready to go. But then when the injury happened, it really took me out completely, because anytime that I would start healing, I'd dance, and then I would dance and it would start hurting more anytime I would like point the toe, flex the toe, like the feet, bend, basically all the necessary movements in dance. So, but I really did want to do it.
You did want to do it. In fact, you were it sounded like when I talked to you, you were doing like several classes a day. You were pushing pretty hard.
There was a day where I took 3 classes back to back to back, and I was practicing hard, and then that just happened, and it was like a hard stop. So that was very...
Well, think about that in respect to the right side, which is the masculine side. The masculine energy is like that. It pushes hard, wants to win, wants to compete, not that you were really competing, but you know what I mean. So you were really, you know, pushing pretty hard, 3 classes a day and stuff. So I wonder if that, you know what I mean?
Because even after the injury, it happened on a Saturday, and I kind of did try not to use my foot too much that week. And then the Saturday, like a week after, I was gonna just take that day off. But as the time kept getting closer to the start of the class time, I couldn't take it. So I just like went to the store, bought a brace, put it on, and went to 3 classes again. Like I just did it anyway, because I didn't want to fall behind. And then it just felt like every time my body was healing, I would knock it back down.
But so that's definitely masculine energy, right? It's just like, I'll get up, I'll fight through the pain, I'll do, you know?
Yeah, because I do try not to like show pain and you know, walk it off. I don't like limping around, having people asking me what's wrong. So I just kind of push through it. And then when I'm alone, I'm like, ow.
So is it possible maybe that part of you is too much in the masculine energy?
It could be.
You know, maybe that was part of the awareness maybe that wants to come out about it. I mean, I know when you're doing any kind of physical sports or anything like that, you have to be somewhat like that, you know?
And that's a bit also of my problem when it comes to when I find something I like, I don't just like it, I obsess. So I just dive in full force, and I'm like 0 or 1,000. I have a hard time with like warm or like in between. I'm either like go hard or go home.
Right. So. And that's definitely masculine energy. So, yeah, maybe the part of it is not honoring your feminine side, you know, like, hey, it's okay to say, you know, take it easy, or you know what I mean, or not push through the pain or push through the whatever, you know. Is there any other parts of your life that maybe you pushed yourself too hard and then you did, you know, regret it later due to an injury or something like that, or some other? Oh, don't forget to put your
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Don't cross.
Yeah, when you touch your hands, it breaks the connection.
I'm trying to think. I'm sure, but like that it's happened before, but not recently. I'm trying to think of.
Yeah, because when you push through, you're not really thinking about what your body needs. You know, when it was saying not letting yourself receive pleasure, but when you're just pushing yourself really hard, like you said, you go 0 to 1,000.
I do remember many years ago when I was going through like but I don't like just like a lot of stress, and then my stomach started developing an ulcer. But I think that's just what humans do, so I wouldn't be the first one that has happened to. But it didn't get fully developed because I don't have an ulcer now. But it was but I did have to go to the doctor, and they're like, yeah, take it easy. So but injury
or just not honoring what your body wants. Like maybe your body wanted to rest when you first hurt the ankle, and you were like, no, we're going to go to classes, we're going to do this.
With my right shoulder, also when I was doing dance classes, if there's like there was a day where it was hurting because I had gone maybe like 10 or some, I don't know, I went like a lot of classes in a row, and it did start hurting, but I did listen because I was like, okay, I need to take a rest day. So I took a rest day, then I went back. So I did listen to that.
That's good.
But that was in my head, like, oh, I'm working it out a lot, take it easy, versus one moment I'm fine, and the next moment I'm on the floor with a sprained ankle.
Right.
So.
Right. Yeah. All right. Well, what else is coming up for you around, like when you first fell? What were you thinking? What emotions came up?
Like 3 or 4 bad words. And at first I looked around to see if there was anybody that could help me up because I didn't know if I was going to be able to move.
Right.
But there was nobody there. I was all by myself. So I stood up and I realized, well, I got to drive now. So let's do this. So I, at that moment, just kind of walked it off. And then I went to a lake with a friend of mine, and I just stood in the lake with my feet in the water, so that felt kind of nice. And then I just basically proceeded with my day.
Because you weren't like mad at yourself for doing it? Or...
Oh, I was furious.
Okay.
Yeah, I was furious. I couldn't believe that because it's one, I mean, I guess all accidents or most accidents can be preventable, but I just felt so negligent. Like, why would I be on my phone going down the stairs?
Right.
And it didn't, and it was 3 flights of stairs, and it happened on the very last one. Like, the very last step is what, like, 1 or 2 steps, like, when I was close to the end, I just looked at my phone and down I went.
Yeah, I don't know, but I don't know if you feel anything, but
And I almost took the elevator.
Oh.
I almost took the elevator, but I was like, let's burn some extra calories, and I took the stairs. And look where that got me.
Yeah. Well, all I know is when you've been talking about it, my fingers are going nuts with I don't know if you're feeling anything.
Yeah, I actually feel like itchy right here, but I don't know if that's energy or if I'm just itching.
Okay.
And then these areas.
Oh, okay. All right. Do you want to do some verbal clearing?
Sure.
Okay. So we're going to come up with things to try to release the emotions around it, and then I'll say the clearing statement afterward, which is right, wrong, good, bad, pod, poc, all 9 shorts, boys and beyonds. And it just, it stands for short for things and acronyms and stuff, but it just clears out the energy. So
I'm not supposed to remember that, right?
No. I'll do that for you. So what's the number 1 emotion you felt when you fell? Is it embarrassment? Mad at yourself?
So first I was just overwhelmed by the amount of pain I was feeling. So first I noticed my physical pain.
Okay.
And the second part was, did I really just do that? Like, I could not believe it. And it's actually not the first time. I remember when I was about 14 or 15, I was that time talking on the phone and I slipped down the stairs and the same ankle I had sprained.
Oh,
But
wow.
that was when I was a teenager.
Mm-hmm.
So now that I think about it, I'm like, did I not learn the first time?
Yeah.
But yeah, so I guess I just felt anger and then I had questions. I'm like, am I gonna be okay?
Okay. Did you think about the competition at
Oh
all?
yeah.
Okay, that was one of the first things that you thought of.
Yeah, I was wondering, like, is this gonna be okay? What's gonna happen?
Yeah. Okay. So that's kind of a clue too. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So, all right. So everywhere you felt like shocked and angry at yourself for doing something kind of stupid, looking at your phone while you're walking down the stairs. Everywhere you kind of beat yourself up for that and you felt bad. And then you were worried about how you could, were you going to still be able to compete, in the dance. When you thought about competing in the dance, what came up?
I thought, am I going to, my thought was, I thought I didn't have enough time then. Now this is gonna slow me down even more.
Okay, so you're putting more pressure on yourself.
So it felt like way more pressure, and at first I didn't really, a lot of times when people get hurt, they wanna like baby that area.
Right.
But I was too angry to do that because it just felt inconvenient. Like, that's my driving foot.
Right.
That's my dancing foot. That's my walking foot. Well, both of them are. But actually, only that one's my driving foot.
Mm-hmm.
But it just felt like I just created an inconvenience for myself.
Mm-hmm. Right. Okay, so everywhere you had anger at yourself for doing it and for that happening, and then, the worry about competing and also driving and walking and all that. Everywhere you kind of beat yourself up for it. Kind of shamed yourself, made yourself feel bad. We got to push through this and not enough time. Now it's going to set you back. Everywhere all those feelings came up of kind of being hard on yourself, would you like to destroy and uncreate all that times a godzillion?
Yes.
Okay, right, wrong, good, bad, pod, poc, all nine shorts, boys, and beyonds. Interesting, though, how it's your driving foot as well.
Mm-hmm.
Which I know you have some issues with the driving.
Yeah.
So
I hate other people on the road.
Okay. So kind of interesting, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
with everything that's been going on with the driving and not feeling like you can, feeling confident about driving, now this gives you another excuse where you don't have to drive as much, right?
It did and it didn't. It almost just, because I still had to drive, but now I had to drive in pain. Because
Great.
yeah, because when you're driving and you're flexing, pointing, bending, going from gas to brake to forward, and so it just made it like, oh great, not only do I dislike everybody else on the road, now I have to feel pain while I do it.
Right.
So it made me want to do it even less.
Right. And of course, with everything that's been going on with that, do you see how, you kind of didn't want to do the driving, and this was like, okay, we'll fix it. So, the driving's going to be even more unpleasant. You know what I mean? So that's kind of interesting too.
I guess that's what happens when you become so good at manifesting. You gotta be really careful at not bringing
what you don't want.
Yeah,
exactly. So, and while we're at it, we might as well cover the driving too, because it's probably related. So what comes up, the first thing that comes up when you get nervous about driving?
I'm thinking
fear.
So driving itself, now that I reflect on it, I'm actually a pretty good driver and I don't dislike driving. I just dislike everybody else on the road, and I wish it was just me.
Right.
So it's almost like I get worried that someone's just gonna like hit me with the car and then I'll be hit with a car. So
it's like a worry, or is it a fear? How bad is the emotion when it comes up?
It's pretty bad.
Okay.
It's almost like I may die today.
Oh, wow. Okay.
In a car.
Wow. Okay. So do you Okay, so everywhere you feel like it can be so severe that you feel like you might literally die in a car. Somebody might hit you and kill you in a car.
Yeah, but if I drive somewhere at night and there's no cars on the road, I'm so chill. I got the
Right.
seat back. I'm driving like no problem. Sometimes I get way too relaxed. So it's almost like and sometimes like people do really dumb stuff on the road, and I think I can see so many things at the same time that like I know people should just be focused on like their lane, but I'm like looking at everywhere. And unless I know where I'm going, if I'm familiar with the road, it's fine. But if it's like a new location, it's probably not gonna happen, or I'll leave at the crack of dawn.
So everywhere you've got fear around the other drivers, and the other drivers maybe hurting you in some way, or breaking the law, or crashing into you, whatever it might be. Everywhere you've got like fear around that, anxiety, stress, and everywhere you're not trusting in the process and the flow of traffic and drivers. Would you like to destroy and uncreate all that times a godzillion?
Yes.
Right, wrong, good, bad, POD, POC, all nine shorts, boys, and beyonds. So when you're driving by yourself, you're fine. But when you don't trust the other drivers. So how much of that is control?
I have no idea.
A lot.
Probably all of it, because I can't
you
control anybody else's driving.
Right, you can't control the other drivers. So when we all get in the car, we all have to just, no matter how good of a driver we are, we have to, drive defensively, but we have to just trust that we're going to be all right. 99% of the time you get in your car and you're fine, you get to your destination, everything's good. Most of the drivers are doing the same thing, and everybody, it all flows. We all follow the same rules most of the time, and there's things once in a while, but what is it about you that you're not trusting in the process of traffic and people doing the right thing and people knowing how to do things correctly? How much of that is control, and that you can't control it?
Probably a lot. And just as an energy check, I do feel this hand like kind of hurting.
Yeah. And control is masculine energy, right? So maybe a lot of this is happening with the ankle and the driving, so that you learn to tone down your masculine energy. Possibly, I don't know.
I do feel like this year specifically, my masculine energy has been a lot higher than previous years. I actually feel that my entire life I was dominated by feminine energy.
Right.
And there was a shift. I actually felt it like within me around December and of last year, and then so I'm still trying to find the balance between the two energies.
Right. Okay. Anything with the father or any male in the family?
Well, I did lose my grandpa in December.
True. That's true. Yeah. So is there anything maybe there as far as, do you feel like you need to, do you think you need to amp up your masculine energy because of the loss of him?
I've never thought about it.
Yeah, because if you feel like you lost that masculine kind of like guardian, then is your father still alive?
Oh yeah, my father is still alive.
Which was more like fatherly, like your grandfather or your father?
Oh, my grandpa, 100%.
Okay.
My grandpa was awesome.
Yeah, so you might have, feeling like you lost him. It's kind of like you need to step up now and be strong, take care of yourself type of thing. You know what I mean? So maybe some of that's going on there. If it is anywhere in your cells, in your body, it could be unconscious. Just kind of like, hey, I lost my my male support figure. So now I have to kind of be strong for myself type of thing. again, it could be just, you might not even know you're doing it, but when you said you saw that shift, when did you say you felt the shift?
So I felt it in December. It was around the time when I was grieving my grandfather's loss.
Yeah, right.
I was also dealing with like feeling betrayed by a friend, and there was like a lot of stuff going on.
Well, that makes sense.
And I had to kind of like not throw my guard up, but almost like toughen up in a short amount of time to like protect myself.
Right. That makes a lot of sense. Around this exact same time he passed. So everywhere you could be kind of trying to toughen up, like you said, put your guard up, parent yourself, like fill your grandfather's shoes, or something like that, or have like a substitute for him. Would you like to destroy and uncreate all that times a godzillion?
Yes.
Right, wrong, good, bad, pod, poc, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. What else is coming up around that? Could it just be the grief? Could it be maybe you feel like you're kind of channeling your grandfather's energy a little bit?
I feel like I have had some dreams with him, but they've been very nice, like very soothing. He had like a very soothing, loving energy. So I don't feel anything negative at all when I think about him.
Okay. Did you feel like you lost a support system when he had passed? Okay. Almost like sometimes the male energy, like fatherly energy, feels like a strong pillar type of thing, you know? So is it possible that you, once you lost him, then you felt like you had to develop that in yourself just as a kind of a coping mechanism, or kind of like a, I don't want to say replacement for him, but you know what I mean?
No, I see what you're saying. I think that's definitely a possibility. Well, it almost felt almost like wanting to what's the word? Not absorb it, but just kind of have it continue living within me.
That's a good way to put it. Yep. Because you didn't want to lose it.
Right.
You didn't want to lose it. Yeah. So anywhere you might have done that unconsciously to deal with the grief and to deal with the loss, and to kind of make yourself stronger, but maybe it's not serving you to be to have that much masculine energy, because now you're like hurting yourself. Or anywhere that could be causing any kind of issues. Would you like to destroy and uncreate all that times a godzillion?
Yes, but I want to keep the good stuff.
Okay, yeah. Only the bad stuff we'll get rid of. Only the bad stuff. Okay, right, wrong, good, bad, pod, poc, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. Did your grandfather have a sense of humor?
Oh my gosh, did he?
Because I thought I heard him say, or somebody say, yeah, ease up, girl.
Yeah, he was like 99% humor, like just hilarious. Like, I don't think he ever went a day in his life without telling a joke, or 10.
Oh, good. Yeah, it just feels like, we all have to find that balance between masculine and feminine. But it's almost like when you, the way you were before December and then after, it's like you're wobbling, but you're finding your way, but okay. They're saying that's why you did the pole dancing, because your power is more in your feminine. Yeah. So even you could try to be so strong, you could go out tomorrow and be a construction worker, and you could do all these masculine things, but you would still be weaker than you are when you're in your feminine. is what they're
I
telling
do,
you.
yeah, like the feminine energy has always been
Yeah.
definitely dominant in me.
Right. So it's like you
And-
experimented with the masculine, but it's not going so well. So, and that's why they're saying the pole dancing, because that's a feminine type thing. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So interesting. So they're trying to pull you back to the feminine. So it's like you played in the water of trying, you'd like tried on this masculine stuff, like you would try on clothes.
Mhm.
And it's good to know when to do it. And sometimes you do have to do it. Like if you're in an emergency situation or something and you have to, be strong. But they're saying you have more power when you're in your feminine.
Yeah, even when with like my choreography and stuff, it was very like it had some like ballet and like contemporary stuff into it. Just because like that's kind of what I'm drawn to. I feel like the masculine energy. It's kind of like I pull it out as needed, but I don't live like in it.
Right. And that's a good way to do. That's a good way to do it. But don't you think you've had a little more lately because of the ankle and the competition and the all that stuff?
Yeah, I do feel like I have been pushing a lot harder in a lot of aspects of my life lately.
Right. Yeah. So it's like that when it gets a little too much, a little too out of balance. So then it would make sense that the ankle would happen so that it would slow you down. You see? Plus, you weren't sure, you were a little unsure about your ability to do it that quickly and learn everything that you had to do and all that, Was there ever another time in your life where you had more masculine energy?
Oh yeah, like it's
things didn't go
I
well?
almost think well, the thing with like masculine energy, it's sometimes like the emotions will numb out. Like let's say if I have to clean, so whenever, oh my gosh, I just realized something. Okay, so now that I'm thinking about any time that I have to, let's say, get rid of things, my emotions are attached to all of these things. So it's almost, I never thought of it as pulling my masculine energy. I always saw it as just shutting off emotions and just grabbing a trash bag and throwing things away. And usually like on trash day, so I can't change my mind. And then later the next day, if I feel sad about it, and I feel sad about it, but I can't get my stuff back.
Right.
And now that I think about it, them in the process of moving yet again, I've been like knowing that day is gonna come where I'm gonna trash a bunch of my stuff. And I kind of wanted to do it in like little increments where I can like bring my stuff over so I can fully like decide what I want and what I don't want. But part of me is like, that the day before you're just gonna grab a trash bag and throw away all of your belongings. And I've done that at least 5 other times, so I know I do it. But then sometimes afterwards I'm like, dang, I missed this or that, or gosh, I really like that dress, I shouldn't have donated it. But I try to think of like someone's enjoying it. And I actually feel like I'm spinning right now.
Oh wow. Your whole body?
My head and like my torso.
Oh wow. So are you saying that you're getting the things and just throwing them in the trash bag was just like you turning on that masculine energy, like we're just going to do this and that's it?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I've done that before.
Yeah.
I still remember there was this adorable little black dress with white polka dots and like a big bow, and I loved that dress. And I was getting short on my closet space, and I just grabbed a bag and just blindly just filled it up, gave it to my mom and said, give it to someone who needs it. And I was like, please do it soon. So she just went and put the bag in the car, and I never saw that dress again. I don't know what else went in that bag, but I know that dress went in there, and that was like
so is this
7 years ago.
Is this like you punishing yourself, or why are you being so hard on yourself?
I try to not have too much clutter,
Okay.
but I end up with more things. Like the other day, I got this little thing from the college, and it was just a bunch of little knickknacks and like stickers, and the first thought a normal person would say, oh my gosh, this is so kind of them, this is so cute. My first thought was, great, something else I'm going to become attached to that I'm going to have to throw away later. And and that's, I don't know if that's a normal thought. And now I just have the box there. I'm like, oh, should I throw it away now? Should I find a place for it? I don't really need the stuff in it, but it's kind of cute.
Well, how does that relate to your masculine energy and all that?
Well, I've moved about 31 times since I was born.
Wow.
So I don't like moving. I just want to be home.
I see.
I'm not exaggerating when I say about 31 times I've counted.
So what comes up when you think about moving? What emotions come up?
Stability, getting rid of things, new routines, new schedules. Nowadays, it's new driving routes, because when I settle in a place, I memorize all the routes. And when I go to a new place, it's like, even grocery store feels like, Before COVID, I would just do my shopping at 1 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
Now that's not really an option because a lot of places close.
Right, right. So you see how much control that is?
I like control. I say that I don't, but I feel like I do.
Yeah, controlling everything, controlling the where you drive, how you drive, the house, so. And then a lot of times the reason you want so much control, and control even of the road, you want to control all the other drivers if you could, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. That comes from fear. Mm. So where you're not feeling, what is the fear? Is the fear like, and you mentioned stability a lot, and new routines, getting rid of things, all that kind of stuff. Is the fear that you're not safe, you're not stable, like if you were to have to suddenly move or suddenly drive somewhere new or something? Where is that coming from, that safe stability type?
I don't know if feeling? I've ever, no, that it wouldn't be fair for my mom if I say I've never been stable, but my entire life, like, it's been, like moving a lot. Mm-hmm. There was a time where we did stay at a place for like 3 years, which was the most stability I had. Mm-hmm. Was being at a place for 3 years, and that's a long time in like MJ history. Right. I don't think I've ever lived in a place longer than 3 years.
Wow. So that's what you're yearning for, is you want that stable, not having to. So what goes through your mind when you think about, oh gosh, I have to move again, and now I don't feel stable, I don't feel like I'm in the solid place and all that? What emotions come up with that? Are they stuff you thought about when you were a kid when you had to move?
Mm-hmm. It feels weird recording because I want to cry.
No, go ahead. He can stop it if you want, or whatever, edit it, I guess.
Yeah, you can edit it.
But this is important because you can see the theme, you know what I mean? You can see the theme in your life with the stability, and that's why you're wanting all this control. Even to the point where you want to control the other, which is funny.
I just want my own lane, the MJ lane, and like people can pay to like drive on it. Oh man.
So if you feel comfortable coming up with the stability stuff about moving, I think that's a really big issue. Sorry.
It's like hard to talk without like crying. Oh my gosh.
That's good. That's fantastic, because you're bringing up all this stuff that's really deeply embedded that you just don't think about every day, but you've pushed these emotions down, and now look what's happening. You're falling downstairs, and you're and it's all because there's never any accidents. It's all trying to get you to look at these issues and clear them once and for all. And that's what we're doing today. So once you get them all out, then you won't even have to deal with them. And you'll probably be like, hey, I want to drive everywhere.
Oh, that would be nice. That would be nice. So yeah, it's I don't know, I just think like every time I move I think of like, am I gonna have to move again? When's the next time? Is this like a home? Um so for example, I bought my, like, I just thought about this, it just popped into my head right now. I bought the television that I have about 7 years ago. I remember I was like, I really want a TV, so I went and I bought the TV, and I took it all out, and there's this little thin plastic border all like around it. You can't really see it's there unless you truly go and look at it. But I never removed it because my thought was always like, oh, if I have to move, like I don't want like the TV to get scratched, even though honestly it's like, it's just a border. The rest of it has been fully unpacked. Right. So maybe like in my head I'm like, up until like I feel finally settled, I will remove that. And it's weird.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying.
But you can't really see it, so it's like, but unless you go to it, you're like, oh wait, isn't this supposed to come off?
So what's the earliest memory you can think of when you were little of having a bad feeling about moving?
I was in my crib, so I was about 2 years old. I have memories going back a lot, and I remember a lot of movement, and like we moved out, like my mom left my dad, and they had to do it like while he was not there. And I remember just being like in a crib, like on the street, waiting, not because we were on the street, but I just remember looking around, and because they were gonna go to like the house or whatever. Oof, I just felt stuff going up my leg. And
yeah, but it's like my crib doesn't belong in the middle of the street, so
yeah, and
what's going on? Yeah,
so I remember just being like a baby and just looking around, and I vividly remember my crib on the street, like what? And but then obviously it went to a place and I was home again. And actually no, we did live there for quite some time, so for, you know, but I guess after the age of like 8 or 9, it's when it was just like, we're moving. And maybe there was a place that I was at for like 3 years, from like 3rd grade to like maybe 5th grade, maybe 6th, and then it's just been a lot of moving. So I forgot the question.
Is it coming up with the pain around moving? Is it because you lost your dad through that kind of, or
well, I mean, I still saw him.
You just
like
saw him? Okay.
he still would see me every weekend.
Oh, okay.
So it wasn't like a permanent loss. It was just for my mom's growth and just the better of the family. They just needed a split.
And so how was your mom on her own and taking care of you?
Pretty good. My mom was, at that time, she was 16. She was a little girl.
So she was young too.
But she did awesome. You know how they say we pick our parents. I understand why I chose my mom, because she's amazing. So I never really lacked anything. Like I was never hungry. I was never cold. And like my childhood, I felt pretty safe, and I did get, like, I had a really nice childhood, actually. You know,
other than the moving.
And then the whole weird situation of like parents splitting up when you're tiny. But probably better it happened when I was tiny, because otherwise I think it's harder when you're, because I just got used to it being that way.
So what did you feel like as far as, you know, I'm trying to get at the emotions that are causing the thing around moving and keep constantly moving, and what did that represent to you? You know, as a kid, even when you were older, like 8 or 9, what did you think when your mom said, oh, we're moving again? What was the core emotions that came up for you?
Well, after the age of 10, like after we had done it a few times, it just felt normal. Like, this is what we do. Like, we go to a place, and then Sometimes you know how like you have to renew. We just like would go to a new place, or there's something like I guess some places we would stay for like a year, maybe 2 years, but there was a lot of in between. I didn't really get to have my own room at any point up until I was, well, no, when I was a child. So basically from before 9, I think I was fine. Like I did get my own little room and everything. I was a happy kid. Then I didn't have my own room till I was like maybe 15 or 16. And then we went back to sharing for a while. And then when I was 16, I definitely had my own room because we had a really cute condo and I had a room that I decorated and everything. I loved that place. And then we got the news like, hey, we're moving again. I'm like, oh, okay.
So maybe it was just like, I'm trying to get at the uncomfortable feelings around moving. So
it's like
was it just like you just got in there and got settled and then you're ripped from it again?
It's like I can't like spread roots.
Right, like a tree.
So I'm like a potted plant that can be taken places. I'm not a tree.
Okay, and then trying to make friends and do all that, and maybe
I would make friends in school, but I never made friends in neighborhoods because I knew I would just have to leave them.
Right.
So.
Right. So again, you had to kind of put that distance up, you know. What was the feeling that was coming up when we first brought it up that made you cry?
I don't know. It just kind of. It's like, here we go again. It's like time to move, or like, do I have to move again later? Like it's
no stability.
Which is not fair to say because I'm at a good place.
Right.
So it's not that that's how I feel. It's just I don't know how to explain it.
Did you feel safe in all the places that you moved?
Yeah. I never felt in danger or anything like that.
Okay.
It just never really felt like I had my own place or my own spot.
Right. Like a real home. Like that you could think of as like home, you know, coming home to. Okay. Well, it sounds like it's just the stability. So, so anything that's coming up around that as far as just feeling like you just are ripped from each place and you never can really establish, you know, your roots and your home and you're feeling good. Like you just, you know, you really like this place and you want to stay a while.
Yeah. And it's also a transition because where I'm like currently at, like everyone is so nice and I am going to feel like I am going to miss them a lot. So it's like the transition from like a good place to another good place, so it just changes.
Right. So a lot of change.
Yeah, I don't like change. I
was going to say on a scale of 1 to 10, how much do you like change?
I feel like I am so good at change, but being good at something doesn't mean that you have to like it.
Right.
So I think I'm like excellent at it, but I don't like it. Well, it depends. I mean, is it gonna change my pay raise to like much more money? Then yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
So it just depends on the type of change.
What change it is? Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, everything around change and control, and trying to control the changes, control the moves, all that stuff. Anything where maybe the masculine energy is too strong and you're trying to have control and have, you know, affect the changes. Would you like to destroy and uncreate all that times a godzillion?
Yes.
Right, wrong, good, bad, pod, poc, all nine shorts, boys, and beyonds. What else is coming up for you? Anything?
I'm trying to think of. I mean, there is something else, but I don't want it on camera, or at least edit it out.
All right. Now, how are you feeling? You're all done.
Yes, I do feel better, relaxed, and lighter. Good. Definitely lighter.
Did you feel some things moving out of your hands and your feet?
Oh yeah.
Good.
Hands, feet, eyeballs.
Good.
Yeah.
You got to a lot of really deep things. That's great.
Sorry
great.
for the viewers they didn't get to, but that's okay. It was for me.
That's great. Yeah, you really did good. I think you can see now the connections between so many different parts of your life.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's really good. That's great.